hanging plant. So cute. You're gonna need the color of yarn that you want for your pot and the hangers, brown yarn for the dirt. These are both cotton yarns that I'm using. This is Lion Brand 24/7 cotton, and this is sugar and cream cotton that I'm using for the basket. And then I'm using this hook. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter hook. You might want to have a smaller, skinnier hook available, because at some point we are going to pull the plant strands through the hole of the dirt, and you'll want a skinnier hook available for that. Obviously you want scissors. You're going to want some needles, a thinner needle to do some sewing. You're going to have to sew the dirt into the plant. And then you're going to need some embroidery floss or thread to do that is similar or same color as your basket. Okay. And then you also are going to need some fiber fill. You don't need a lot. It's literally just to stuff this small basket, and you're not going to stuff the basket really full, just to keep its shape. You're going to need your little plant strands that you made from previous videos, either your monstera leaves or your string of pearls. And that should be everything that you need. Oh, probably a couple stitch markers. Okay, so that's it. Let's get started. The video, we're going to make the dirt, and we're going to make the pot for your mini hanging plant. So we're going to make this nice round dirt and this hanging basket to put the plant in. I have 2 videos before this where I showed you how to make monstera leaves, cute, and then also the string of pearl plant strands. You can make either one, or you can make both, and then we're gonna assemble it and put it together in this really cute hanging plant holder. This is pretty mini sized, and if you want to just use bigger yarn and bigger hooks, you can make it bigger size to hang in your house. Both of these start with a magic ring or magic circle. They are the same thing. Don't be confused. If you don't know how to do magic ring / circle, I have a video on that. Look back in my tutorials and find that, and you can learn how to make one. I don't make mine the way most people make theirs. There's a million tutorials of how to make a magic ring. You do you. If this is confusing to you, I don't blame you. It's just weird. It's how I learned how to do it, and it's just the easiest way for me. But I hold my strand so that the end is to the left, and then I loop it over like that. So left going over the right. I hold that loop with my fingers, I stick my hook through, I pull up the working yarn end, and that is my starting loop. Okay? And then it's weird, it's fiddly, but you hold it all. And now you're going to chain 3. Uno, dos, tres. And that is going to be your first, count as your first double crochet. And you might want to mark this because you are going to slip stitch into the top of it when we come around the circle. All right, so you've just chained 3 into your magic ring. You are now going to work 13 double crochets. So when we come around, this one being the first, this chain 3 being the first, that will be 14 total, okay? So you yarn over and into the center of your magic ring, work 13 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3. Whoa, it's already going off the rails. Whoa. I'm gonna tighten it up here. 4. Okay, so keep going until you have entered 13 double crochets into the center of your magic ring. I'll meet you back around here. All right, this is the last double into the magic ring. So this is the 13th double crochet. All right, and you can pull your tail to tighten it. And now you are going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 where you started. Whoa, my light's getting crazy here. If you start a video in the afternoon, the light starts to really shift. Okay, so slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. All right, so there's the beginning of your dirt. And now we're just going to do one more round of increase. So go ahead here and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, you can mark it if you'd like. I'm a big fan of marking stuff because I get distracted. All right, so that will count as your first one, and you're going to now enter your first double crochet into that same space, into the chain space, and that will be like your first increase. So it'll be 1, 2, and you want 28 total. So into each stitch around, you're going to enter 2 doubles. So there's 1 into the same, 2, whoops, okay, just kidding. There we go. And into the next stitch, 2, and continue all the way around, putting 2 into each stitch until you get to the end. And I'll meet you here when you've gone all the way around, doing 2 in each stitch. And we have come around to the last stitch. Here's the final stitch. I think it's a little confusing sometimes when you're working in the round. You don't want to work into the slip stitch from the previous round. Here's your final stitch. So 2 into that last stitch. And if you're unsure, always count. So at this point, including the chain 3 at the beginning, you should have 28 total. Okay? If you don't have that, reassess your life, do it again. All right, now we are going to, as we did before, slip stitch whoop, into the top of your chain 3. Did you just hear my dog breathe? Just like let out a heavy sigh. I don't think she's into crochet. All right, so slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And now that is your dirt right there. What I like to do is leave a little tail, pull this through, and then I'll show you how I like to finish it. Is I use a little needle. So here's where you finished off, okay? So in the top of that first double, so here's the chain 3, and here's the top of the double. Go, if it's facing you, the right side is facing you, go through the back of the top of that first double crochet, like that, and then down into the top of the last double crochet. You can kind of just have it come out in the back here because you're going to weave it in. So like that, and you have a little invisible join. It just kind of blends right in, see? And now you can weave it in. Weave in your end. I like to run it through at least 3 times so that you don't have any mishaps. Although this is the kind of thing that it's not going to be handled a lot, so hopefully it won't come out. It's not like a piece of clothing or something where it's going to get moved around a lot. But just to be safe, run it through 3 or 4 times. And then cut that off. And then you'll want to do the same with, this is the front side. Here's the back side of your dirt. The center of your magic ring. Same thing. Work your needle. I like to go around, it looks like a butthole. I call it the butthole. Work your way around clockwise, around the butthole, and clockwise, because then when you pull it, you can make a nice tight finish. Although with this one, don't pull the center super, super tight because you're going to string your plants through the center like that, okay? So you want to leave a little space, but you don't want it too loose or the pieces will slip out. So give it a nice tug, leave a little bit of space in there, And then just keep working around to weave it in. And then you can go back the other direction. Oops, sorry. And once you feel confident that you've got that nice and stuck in there, same thing, trim, and you've just finished your dirt. And here's the thing, you're never gonna see the bottom of the dirt. It doesn't need to be perfect, okay? And you're barely even gonna see the top of the dirt because it's gonna be covered by the plant. But this is what you should have, 28 in your final round there. Nice round circle, and it will fit into the top of your plant holder, which is what we're gonna make next. Here's your hanging basket, super, super cute, easy to do. And here is the best part. The bottom of this basket, which is where we're going to start, is exactly the same as the dirt you just made. So not to be a lazy cow, but please just go back to the dirt explanation and make the bottom of the basket exactly the same way, but with your basket yarn. It's the same thing. You're gonna make a magic ring, you're gonna do chain 3, and then you're gonna enter 13 double crochets into your magic ring, join, increase with 2 in each stitch for a total of 28 at the end of the second round, and that includes your chain 3 as a double crochet. So including that chain 3, you'll have 28 in this second round. I will meet you there when you're getting to the point where you're going to join into the top of the chain 3 of your final round 2, okay? You can do it, I believe in you. Okay, you made the bottom of your basket, right? So you just did your last increase in the final stitch, and you're gonna slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that you started with. A little tight with the cotton yarn. All right, excuse me. So now you have the bottom of your basket. Now we are going to work double crochets all the way around into the back loop only. So this is going to be the part facing you, that is the right side. It's going to be the bottom of the basket, and then we're gonna build up, okay? So go ahead, you just did your slip stitch, now chain 1, and into the top of the first double crochet, so not in the join space that you just did on top of, there's the chain 3, but on top of the first double, you're gonna work a double crochet into the back loop only. And the back loop is, if the work is facing you, the top half of the stitch. So each stitch makes sort of a V like that. If you go into the center of the stitch, that is the back loop, okay? So this is like considered the front loop, and this is considered the back loop. You're gonna put a double crochet. So yarn over, and remember, don't go into this join, it's a little confusing, but into the top of the first double crochet. Go into the center and through the back loop of that stitch and double. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is mark that. That is your first double crochet of this round. And you're gonna go all the way around, placing double crochets into the back loop only. And what that does is it creates a little ridge so that your basket will stand up. So you're gonna build the walls of the basket now. So by going into the back loops, you're gonna build this little ridge like that. Okay, so go all the way around, double crochet into the back loops only, and I'll meet you when you've gone around 1 round. All right, we are at our last back loop. Do our double, and now, just like we've done in the past, we're going to join where you marked your first double crochet. So not into the chain 1, but be sure that you slip stitch into the top of your first double, and there you have the bottom of your basket. So you can kind of flatten it out and see how it looks. At some point, you're going to want to take your needle and secure this by weaving it in here. You don't really have to snip the end because this is going to be inside, so you won't see it, but don't forget to do that. Okay, so take your needle just like we did with the dirt and weave in the ends around the butthole. Pull it nice and tight, and you can just leave it in there. All right, so I'm having major yarn anxiety because I don't think I have enough of this left to finish the whole basket. And this is all I have in my stash. So I'm actually gonna do a cute little stripe in the center. I'm gonna color change so that I have enough to finish it with the white. You don't have to color change. So if you're gonna do all the same color, at this point now, you are going to just continue on and do 3 more rows. So here's the first row that you just finished, and you're gonna go row, 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 okay, or rounds. You're gonna do 3 more rounds for a total of 4 rounds. And you're gonna do it the exact same way. So you just slip stitch into the top of your first double. Now you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That will count as a stitch, as a double. And then you're going to half double into the back loops only all the way around, just like you've been doing. And then just go all the way around like that and continue on until you have 4 rows high like this. Like I said, I'm gonna do a color change. If you'd like to do a color change, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm just trying to conserve my yarn. So at this point, what you would do, so here is where you slip stitch, I'm getting out of frame, slip stitch joined. So here is where I like to change, is instead of slip stitching with the original yarn, let's use the brown because it's here. You'll take your second color and take the end and pull it through and slip stitch here. Pull things nice and tight. And now just continue on with your new color. So 1, 2, 3, and then continue on just like you were before, but with your new color. Double crocheting into the back loops only. Like that, okay? So now you've switched to your new color. These ends, because we're not going to see the inside of this flower pot, plant pot, I am just going to tie these ends together, although I'm going to use a different color. Just knot them together really well, like double knot, and then just trim them off and leave them. You don't have to weave them in because they'll be on the inside of the pot. But if you don't want to change color, just continue on with the same colors you have been, all right? Do 4 rounds until you have a basket that is this tall, 4 double crochets tall, and I'll meet you when you get to the join at the very last, at the end of the very last round. Okay, I'll meet you there. Okay, crochet babies. So as you can see, I added my little stripe. Here's something else I wanted to point out to you. I completely was not even thinking. I was just in back loop only mode, and I have been doing my rows double crocheting into the back loops only. In my original basket, I did not. I just did regular double crochets into the full top of the stitch. But as you can see, either way, it looks really cute. So if you've been doing it back loop only or not back loop only, don't worry, either way is correct. Here we are at the end, and we are now going to add our hanger chains like this, okay? And again, this is however long you want them to be. So go ahead and do your final slip stitch into the top why I opened that, into the top of your first chain. Go ahead, slip stitch. Now to create a clean finish, we're gonna slip stitch all the way around the edge. So to do that, we'll go ahead and chain one. And now we will go into the tops of each stitch and not the back loop only, but the full stitch, and just slip stitch all the way around like this. And that will make the top of the basket just look more finished. And if you want, so you don't get confused, you can always mark that first slip stitch with a chain, with a slip stitch, oh my God, with a stitch marker. So go all the way around and slip stitch. Sorry, I almost forgot about this step. And then when you get back around to where your stitch marker is, I'll meet you there and I'll show you how to make the hanging chains. All right, we made it all the way back around, and now to finish our row of slip stitches, see how nice that finishes the top. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first slip stitch, and now we're going to add our hanging chain. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this now. So now, with the yarn still attached, we're going to make a chain like this. And I would suggest you can make these chains as long as you want. Just be sure you're going to add 2 other chains. Just be sure that you make the same number of chains so that when you hang it, it hangs evenly. So I would suggest doing between 20 to 30 chains, 25 to 35 chains, roughly-ish. It really just depends where you want to hang it and how long you want the chains to be. Let's go ahead and start and we'll see what looks good. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, wow, 20, 21, 23, 24. So there's 25. Let's see how it looks. I think that's a nice length. So after you have the number of chains that you want, go ahead and leave a little bit of a tail, cut your yarn, and then just, you can fasten it off like that. Just pull it through so it makes a little knot. And there you're done with your first chain. Now, you have to add 2 more, and you want to place them roughly a third of the way around. Now, I know we have 28 chains in our pattern, which does not evenly divisible by 3, but basically if you just go like 9 around and 9 around, you'll be pretty close. You just want it to hang evenly. So from here you can even just count, okay, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll put 1 here. And then count around again. 1, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put 1 like around here. Like I said, it does not have to be perfect. Then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9-ish there. Okay. So to add a chain, take your same yarn, make a slip knot, okay, and then go ahead and enter where you want to place it, pull the end through, you can tighten it up a little bit, and now just start to chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea, okay? And then these ends, like it's secured in here now, you really don't have to weave it in because we're gonna sew the dirt in over the top of it. So go ahead and chain 25, finish it off just like you did this one, add another one here, and then I'll see you to add the dirt and the plant. Get your dirt. You're going to add your plant first, okay? So take your dirt, we're going to add our plant like I did here into the center of the dirt. So this is a pretty quick, easy step. But what you'll want to do is make sure you have the right side of your dirt up. There's the wrong side. You'll see our ends that we trimmed off. And you're going to go ahead and take all your strands of your plant. There are a few different ways you can do it. You can take your crochet hook, actually take a smaller one if you have it handy, a skinnier one because you have this little tiny hole. Go up through the bottom and then pull the strands through like that, like this. Pull them through. That's probably the fastest way to do it. The other way is if you have a needle and thread, but then you have to thread each individual one and pull it through. But all you want to do is pull through the ends like that until you have as many of your plant strands in there as you want. Like that. Pull them through, pull them through. And you'll have all the ends, so it'll start to look like this. You have all of your ends here. And once you get everything through, as many as you want, well, here's what I did. I have my ends through on this one of the monstera leaves. And you can just take all of the ends and make a nice knot like this, right at the base of the dirt. So it's nice and secure. Pull all of those. And now your plant is really in there, okay? And now we can sew our dirt onto our pot. For this, you're gonna need some thread or embroidery floss and have it be close to or the same color as the top of your pot. So this isn't a perfect match because the pot's kind of cream and this is more white, but it's just happens to be what I have. So you're gonna want a strand that will go around the pot a couple times. There we go. Now this can get a little tricky because you've got this plant to work around. But what we're gonna do is sew most of the way around, and then before we close it, we're gonna stuff fiber fill into the inside. So I'm gonna make a knot at the end. If you don't know how to make a knot with your thread, pretty easy. So if you have your floss or thread like this, have your needle straight up, and go all the way down and pull up the end of your thread and hold it like it's pointing down. So here's the pointy edge, and hold your yarn like this, okay? So that the end is pointing down. Now hold on to that end and wrap it to like 3 or 4 times, and then grab it all and pull it straight down. Oops. Pull it like that, and now you have a knot at the end of your string, okay? So there's no perfect way to do this. The best way to do it is to just sew it so that it looks decent. I try to hide the thread, but you really aren't gonna see it because it's so thin and it's gonna blend in really well. So I'm gonna just start just slightly underneath the top of the pot. And hope that knot is good enough. And then go ahead and just place your dirt in here and start sewing just like this. And you'll want to sew it so that you're not going through the tops of the loops. You want to hide that white thread. And the thing to remember too is that you're barely going to see the dirt because the plant is mostly going to be covering it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to stress about like, oh my God, these stitches aren't perfect. You're really not going to see it, okay? This is just to secure it. And I'm just doing a basic whip stitch, like just going in and then coming through. And the yarn is thick enough, you don't have to go all the way to the outside. So you really aren't going to see this floss, this thread at all. So just keep going around until you've got all your dirt secured. No, don't go all the way around. Just kidding, don't listen to me. Go until you're almost done and make sure all of your ends and tails and stuff are tucked in. Leave yourself a couple inches before you finished, and then we're going to stuff in the fiber fill. All right, so I've got about 1/3 of my opening here. Now we're going to stuff it, baby. Stuff it with fiber fill. If you don't have fiber fill, you can stuff this with whatever the hell you want. Some people like to use their old like yarn tails to stuff things with. I mean, you just have to be sure you don't see it through like all the different colors, but you don't have to stuff this super full. It doesn't, because you don't want it to be round. You want it to look like an actual pot, right? So put a little more in. I think that looks good, yeah. And now go ahead and complete sewing. Just keep going around. And I think I'm almost done. So where did I start? Yeah, I made it all the way back to the front. So now this, you can just run it through. Make yourself a little knot by going like this, just going through the end a couple times. And you can definitely do that again if you want, which is what I'm going to do because I have like extreme paranoia of things coming undone. Just run it through one more time. And go through your end. And now you can trim it. And your dirt is secured. Cute, cute, cute. Now, your plant is basically done. I think this is really cute. Look at that. There's our little monstera plant. Sorry, this is like the worst view of it. With the top, just get it even at the top, not the ends, so that your hanger is even. Your plant will be ready to hang just like that. So cute! All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm sorry I was a little cuckoo crazy during it, but I hope it made sense, and I hope you ended up with a really cute plant that you can hang up. Okay,